Get ready. Checkpoint. Congratulations.
Hail, Gunstar 1. I'm Cassette Blue.
And I'm Sun versus the Moon.
It's good to see you, son. How you
Hey,
doing,
bud.
bud?
I was holding that smile for a minute while we were prepping, so I was just kind of like, oh, right, it's my turn to say my name. Right. What up, dude? How are you?
You know, I'm riding a good high from my photo shoot earlier today, so it's a pretty good day.
Nice.
How are you?
Congratulations. Yeah, I'm all right. So Cassette and I, we're doing a different format this week. We have the new format where we're just going to do news highlighted. We're going to try to do this bi-weekly. And then we'll have the kind of this month in gameplay. We're going to try that. So this week we're going to have a Budsday. Sorry, no bit this week. We're just kind of pressed for time. It is 10:30 on Saturday, Saturday night. So we're kind of starting late on our recording, 10:30 p.m. So we had a lot to plan, and we were doing some pre-production work for some things. Pretty exciting, actually, what we're coming up with. I'm actually very excited for what's on the horizon. Next week on the 27th or 26th. So next week we'll record this month in gameplay for what we've been playing, and then the following, the 3rd or the 4th, you have another shoot. So the 4th, we'll record the next Budsday, and our bit will return. Snake and Liquid will be back, or Master Miller will be back.
Oh no, the spoiler! No, I'm just kidding.
But so yeah, we're gonna try just hitting the news headlines that we're kind of coming in contact with. Again, though, if you ever want to write in or hit us up in the Budsday Twitter or on the comments below, we will definitely incorporate that into the podcast. We just want to we gotta have some interaction. Otherwise it's just all news. But anyway,
Yes.
so
Hit up that link tree whenever you get the chance. Follow us everywhere.
heck yeah, check it
Be
out.
happy to have you. Yeah.
Welcome. So our first story this evening. This is kind of, I don't know, dude. This was kind of ridiculous. So there was like a beta driver that was leaked or released, and it essentially removed the unhackable mining limiter that Nvidia said that there was a secure handshake between the driver and the BIOS, and that it was unbreakable. Well, obviously
And this is
not.
on the RTX 3060 card.
Pardon, thank you. So they are it's essentially just removing the limiter that they had in place. So it's kind of, this is not official yet, but the fact that this exists at all just shows us that it was not anything fancy. Brian Del Rizzo, that's the guy that gave Hardware Unboxed a hard time. If you saw that drama a little bit ago, I'm not sure if you follow YouTuber stuff.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm curious now.
Oh, there was a huge drama that he had told them that they were unable to, that they were going to be removed from the preferred list or whatever, because they were not showcasing RTX on their video card reviews. They were focusing on rasterization over it. And he's like, we're removing you from the list. And Linus Sebastian, from Linus Tech Tips, went off on a whole rant. Everything was awesome. I came to their side, and then he totally backed down. And so every time I see his name now, I'm always like, oh, it's that guy.
That's what happens, unfortunately.
I mean, it's true though. So but he's the one that claims. So Brian Del Rizzo claimed that there's a secure handshake between the driver and the BIOS that prevents the removal of the hash rate limiter. Untrue.
And when we first read about this, I kept thinking about, like, what if it's still the same multi-core hardware and architecture design? What would it be in there that would make it impossible? Because I even kept thinking in the back of my head, like, at the very least, a BIOS flash would probably be all that you would need in order for this kind of thing to happen.
Well, yeah, that's what I originally had said, is I wonder how long it's going to take them to develop alternate means for this, because we already know that those mining companies manufacture their own stuff. So it's nothing is preventing that. There are genies, they are billion-dollar corporations, right? Nothing is stopping them from hiring software engineers that will do this. And obviously this can be done. So because there was already reports of it being hacked, and now it's like, oh, well, obviously because beta drivers. So anyway, everybody was like, just go download them now and have some fun.
So on the PlayStation blog, they have revealed the next gen VR controller that they're going to be having for the PS5, which is very exciting. Behold, it's going to be a separated two-hand controller, and it's going to have this very intricate and actually kind of beautiful sort of rapier handguard sort of design going along it. It's quite a thing. I actually really like this controller. I was dubious at first, but I think it's grown on me.
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh my gosh. I love that you had this sneaking up. Thank you so much.
Right?
Yes, very much so.
But so
besides the fact of the Sony Ericsson logo, that's a blast from the past. Oh my gosh. Did you ever have a Sony Ericsson?
I did.
We don't need to go down this road.
I
But,
did.
Old phones back in the early 2000s, right?
Sure.
No. Anyway, sure. Yeah.
2008-ish, maybe mid-aughts.
Okay. Man, what a wild time before we had smartphones. Anyway, PS5 VR controller. It's gorgeous. It looks pretty cool. It's gonna have haptic feedback, vibration, all that kind of stuff, right? It's basically just a split controller.
It's like the modern VR controller.
Yeah.
What this tells me, I'm just excited. Hopefully they'll sell these controllers and we can just use our old HMD.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. I'll buy a new one, but I'm just saying maybe I know these will sell out in a minute anyway. They're already going to, but maybe if I just want to play Resident Evil 8. I just want to play Resident Evil 8 in VR, please.
Yeah. The only concern. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, because at this rate, I cannot get a video card to save my life.
Yep.
I was a lucky son of a gun, and I managed to get my mitts on a PS5. So if I got to play I played RE7 on PS4 VR. So I got no problem doing it. I didn't love the control scheme, but in VR it actually wasn't bad. You aim with your face, So
the only thing that I'm concerned about is that I feel like I don't see anything in this blog post. And I read another couple of articles on the site about it as well to see if they had any info about the design. I don't understand why it has the handguard, besides the idea of it's to protect your hands from accidentally whacking something as you're flailing around playing your game, depending on what kind of environment you put yourself in. Which, great. I love the hand protection, but also at the same time, I feel like having a unified shell for each hand either is going to make it prohibitively expensive to replace the controllers if they get damaged from said hand flailing. I really wish that the actual portion with the buttons was its own separate housing, and then it had some sort of flexible rubber guard instead. I mean, because this looks like some sort of hard shell plastic, but the fact that it's unibody and not flexible, or not seemingly flexible, makes me worried about the actual durability of the controller if it were to be whacked around. Because otherwise, if it weren't about actually protecting your hands while you can't see where your hands are, then I don't understand why it would have this specific design, besides just being cute. Or not cute, but actually very, very nice, very beautiful.
I think there's sensors there. I think it has nothing to do with the size or anything, protection. I think it's probably some sort of sensor in there that helps maybe gyro or movement, because they're probably going to have less cameras. They probably don't want to have as many cameras. If it's just like independent HMD, they're going to want to have. There's probably some cameras in there, maybe some sensors, just like the end of the what you call it, switch Joy-Con, like the other side of the Joy-Con.
Cells.
Say again.
or maybe even battery cells.
Maybe, but
Although those
that's a
would
big
probably be
chunk spot.
handled.
Yeah. But they
Yeah.
probably there's probably sensors on the inside as well that kind of register, so you could probably even like move things in there. Yeah, I'm sure there's something in there like that, and then they need enough space in there for variety of hand sizes.
Yes, that's an excellent point.
Yeah,
And also, you would definitely need a rigid body for something like that,
for
because
sure.
otherwise, if you have flexibility, then the sensors would never read correctly.
Yes, correct. And you can see those up top there. Those are the wrist straps.
Oh, okay, that's what's going on. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. I learned
Well.
something today.
Oh no, that's my guess. I don't know. I don't have any of the newer. I don't unfortunately have any experience with the newer Vive or Oculus stuff. So I'd like to, but
Same.
it's kind of cost prohibitive
Yeah.
and space
I still-
prohibitive.
Oh God, very much so.
Okay, and I would say F Konami news, but in another unpleasantry news,
Yes.
Bobby Kotick, lead DB of Activision,
Yeah.
they laid off how many? What was it?
It's 2% of their workforce.
2% of the workforce. Yeah.
190 about, or like slightly less than 190.
Insane. And what was his increase? 200 million?
Yeah. Supposedly partially as quote unquote back pay for the like cumulative performance of the stock increase and all that kind of stuff, which I guess he's contractually obligated to receive, right? Despite or regardless of who else might need the money.
I just don't get it, man. These people need all the money. James Stephanie Sterling said it best when they said they don't need a lot of money, they need all the money, and that's basically capitalism in a whole. But it's insane, dude. Why even lay these people off when you could have so many creative minds and just like put them to work rather than making them work on rote tasks of Call of Duty every year? I mean, I know it makes them tons of money, but holy cow, man.
For real.
Such
and the
a
fact
shame.
that like a lot of their employees that they're going to be losing work in their esports division.
Yeah. 50.
And I don't understand why they could. I mean, they probably have been working on that, but a lot of people in COVID times have been moving on to doing streaming instead of live events, and I feel like a lot of that workforce could be shuffled into doing that. I feel like there's plenty of opportunities for Activision Blizzard. I mean, they have so many properties. There's no reason they can't be doing esports through streaming. And yeah, I guess that wasn't viable because they needed that money to pay someone's salary that they were contractually obligated to.
So that's the daily. Don't buy Activision Blizzard games.
Please don't.
That's what you
if
got to
you can
do.
avoid it.
It kind of sucks. I like Blizzard properties, but I haven't bought them, and I really wanted to play that new Diablo, but I'm gonna pass probably. No, I mean I did before. I don't really have any. They haven't. If they do some to do some change, but I don't know, man. Right now, I have no desire to support it. It's a shame. They make some cool stuff too.
They really do, but business practices, unfortunately.
Not saying there's other things that are better, but man, these guys suck. Holy cow. All right. So on Game Pass, we're going to talk about Bethesda here in a minute, but this is pretty sick, man. Should we just roll into the Bethesda talk right now? That's probably...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So it's official. We talked about it before. This was like a huge deal. $7.6 billion Microsoft spent. That is a drop in the bucket. They had what? The last time we looked it up, it was 129 billion in revenue. So it's like a drop in the bucket for their total revenue, right?
It really is.
It's nothing, right? So they bought this, and they have these incredible IP now. Okay, so there was this interview with Pete Hines, led it of Bethesda. If you don't know Bethesda, let's give a little bit of backstory. they originally were, well, there's Bethesda Softworks and Bethesda Game Studios, and so like Todd Howard works for Bethesda Game Studios, and they make like the Fallout games. But then Bethesda Softworks was like the greater publisher, which was owned by ZeniMax, and ZeniMax also owned id Software, Arcane Studios,
That makes sense now.
Machine Games, and Tango Gameworks. So when Microsoft bought ZeniMax, they got all of these properties, which is awesome. I encourage you to watch the video. This one, Bethesda joins the Xbox Roundtable. With the group of senior leadership that is on display. Actually, I think this is a better showcase. I think this looks nicer. So I'm a network engineer. I work in the infrastructure side, but I've worked in the enterprise world around these very type of people in this industry. And you know, in the general tech industry, we're up in Seattle here. We have a lot of companies. You know, you can do the math, and I've seen a lot of these types of people about these personality types, and it was very interesting to just watch the interaction. And I highly encourage you to watch it because it's quite fascinating. Here's the thing. Okay, I really like Phil Spencer. He took over from Don Matrick. Don Matrick almost ran Xbox into the ground. When Don Matrick was head of Xbox, the shareholders wanted to sell it off, the Xbox property, because it was not as profitable. He was just a poor business decisions after another. Phil Spencer comes in. Phil Spencer's a businessman as well. He's not a developer. He plays games, so he's pretty cool. He actually, you know, he's not like hardcore gamer, but he likes it. It's very obvious he's familiar with games, right? He's not like a total suit,
Right.
but he's still a business guy. So you're always a little bit. He's like Reggie though, right? So you know, when you have like a Reggie where he wants to be on the side of the business, but also the gamers, you know, kind of take the gamers' interest. He wants his company to make good games. Essentially, that's how you can look at it. Because yes, it is inherently for the business at the end of the day, but he also likes them. When you have someone like Phil Spencer, who's a champion for the games industry, and he is champion for those resources. And when you say resources, it's just money. Whenever you hear someone say resources this, resources that, dedicate resources, it's just dedicate money, right? So he's a champion for the Xbox brand within Microsoft, which is a really big deal because Microsoft is a huge company and there's a bunch of different basically brands within that, right? Office, SQL, Windows, you name it. There's so many different Windows Server. There's so many different things, you know, within the Microsoft umbrella.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Phil, it's very obvious that he knows that he doesn't have good product because they don't. They have bad product right now. But he has infinite money and they have an ecosystem. So what Sarah Bond has done with Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond is the head of partnerships at Microsoft. The two of them have basically built the Game Pass platform. That is like their dream, is just Game Pass. Xbox itself is a vehicle for people, an easy access vehicle for you to access Game Pass. But so is your computer, so is your smartphone eventually. Maybe they'll put it on Nintendo Switch. Maybe they'll put it on a TV. You know, it's like it doesn't.
Switch would be wild for that. That'd be fantastic.
Just don't think of it as an Xbox. That's why they call it Xbox Series, because they're going to release newer versions of that hardware as they can. Game Pass is their ecosystem. They want to bring you in. They want that subscription model. That is where they make money. That is what Phil Spencer has been a big part of. So that all that, I just want to get that out of the way. I like Phil Spencer a whole lot. Who I'm not as a big of a fan of is Aaron Greenberg. Now, he's been there for a while. He's the general manager of Xbox marketing. Okay, so he's just a marketing guy. So if you watch this, he's always like a kind of, he never says anything really substantial. He just repeats what somebody just said, or he just kind of does that business speak that doesn't really mean anything, but it talks a lot, you know? So not only do you not say a lot substantial, you just say more than you need to. And I've been in meetings with those people, and I've been around the block long enough. When I'm in these meetings, I shut my mouth. I don't say anything unless I'm directly called on, or if I have a presentation, because when you insert yourself, not only if you don't know everything, it's quite obvious when you don't know what you're talking about, and you just kind of look like, you make yourself look like a jack butt, you know? So anyway, okay, so that's the Microsoft side initially. Sarah Bond was there too. She's great. But she had like a brief moment with Todd Howard, and Todd Howard, actually a quick one. Todd Howard, executive producer at Bethesda Game Studios, creator of Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3, 4, 76, maybe Budsday 76. They actually talked. They talked about. Oh, I think the reason why they had Todd Howard with Sarah Bond there was because Fallout 76 apparently is killing it on Game Pass right now, and she's
wild to me, but
really,
I guess
it makes total sense. Yeah. So Todd Howard brought up which is probably why Sarah Bond is there, so she could champion Game Pass. But Todd Howard was frankly, it's wild to see. I'm going to get to this point eventually, but I want. I've been talking a lot. Maybe I got to get your input on this, because I have a lot of thoughts about this stuff specifically, because this is what I like this stuff a lot about the games industry. I personally find this fascinating, because these are the people making the decisions. Like, these are the people that really make. At the end of the day, everything above you, everything around you is decided because some guy decided so, right? Some jagoff decided it. So these are those jagoffs. So you pay attention to how these people are and interact, and it gives you a very big, and just like the way that they say things and how they say things is very important. So for example, Todd Howard straight up admitted, he said, I think we messed up just about everything with Fallout 76, which was, coming from him,
amazing to hear.
Yes, here's the thing though. No longer beholden to ZeniMax shareholders. They are now infinite money Microsoft employees. They are able to speak a lot more freely, because not only is he like in the games industry, he's a legendary developer, right? Say what you want about him. He is a bit of, a blowhard. Still makes fun ass games. I love Todd Howard's games, right? Yes. They're fun as hell. But it's wild to see him not have to pitch to the shareholders. Obviously, they're still Microsoft shareholders, but they're cushions. That's Phil's job, is to make sure his teams are cushioned and are funded. That's literally his job, and to make sure that that they have what they need and the resources, money, and that he is the shield.
It's not an insignificant amount of money that is involved with these acquisitions and partnerships, but the fact that it's Microsoft, and so it's still almost just a drop in the bucket for them.
Yes,
there is that that security and confidence that they can have much more freedom in their decision making without really needing to involve the opinions or decision making process of the shareholders directly.
No, they just got to convince Phil.
Yeah,
if he's on board, that's it.
He's already advocating for them. So
yes, perfect. So there's more to this. So this actually it was I highly recommend just watching it, because it's just seeing the interaction between them is very telling. Because I want to get to the Bethesda side. There is Pete Hines and Aaron Losey on the Bethesda side that are kind of Pete was leading the show. Now he is general manager, global marketing and communications manager. He's the SVP, and Aaron is VP. They're Aaron Greenberg's counterpart. Now, it was very interesting watching the interaction between the two of them, because it was fairly obvious that there was friction, to say the least. So it seemed Aaron dealt with Aaron on the day-to-day basis, and they had just, I don't want to presume anything. Just if you watch the interaction, it's quite funny. And they're both marketing type personalities, and it's very obvious that they clashed and they butted heads. And it seems that Pete's used to being the boss, and he's not the top dog anymore, right? So now he's Now he's beholden to somebody else, and it was quite interesting just to watch the power dynamic. Luckily, Phil's a pretty chill dude, man. I think he seems like a cool boss too, right? So I think Phil's like a good cushion to handle like a Pete's type of personality. But if you do watch it, just watch the interaction between Aaron Greenberg, Aaron Losian, and Pete Hines. It's quite entertaining. So then they introduced, they brought in the coolest part of the entire show was they brought in Todd Vaughn, who is SVP, Senior Vice President of Development for Bethesda, and Matt Booty, who's head of Xbox Game Studios. Phil Spencer's head of Xbox. Matt Booty is head of Xbox Game Studios. Matt Booty is single-handedly responsible for those 6 studios or so that they bought last year. Obsidian, who's the guys that do Ninja Theory, Exile. There was a couple that they did some really big purchases that they're going to be coming out with some games, and he's the reason why Bethesda happened, ZeniMax happened. Pardon it. So it's quite obvious that the whole time Phil Spencer's like, man, we need games, right? We got this platform, we need games. Booty, make it happen, right? So and he has been. So what they do is every year, I forget the name of what they call it. I didn't write it down. Bethesda, they call it like their best meeting or something like that. They essentially get together all the heads of all their studios. Arcane. What are we looking at here? Arcane, id, Bethesda, Machine Games, and Tango Gameworks. They all get together, and then there's even a few new ones that they have that they've acquired 2 new ones, and I forget the names. But they all get together and they showcase each other what they are working on, and then they help each other out. So like Machine Games has worked when they bought Machine Games. They worked on Skyrim before they were even fully acquired, and they've been working on tons of games for them. That's why when they had the Wolfenstein license, they said, okay, here you can make a game with it. So that's kind of how they incorporated it. It's pretty cool. Excuse me. So that alone is awesome, right? The fact that those companies, those studio heads all get together, they see what they do, they help each other out with their tech, and then they kind of share. So Matt Booty also does something similar, just on a kind of personal level, where he meets with the individual heads, and then they kind of go over, they kind of do something similar. So they're really encouraging that, right? So if you get to that part of the video, watch Phil's reaction, because what he says got me the most excited for the entire thing, purely upon his suggestion and then his reaction. He is the boss, okay? He makes all the decisions. He says, I love id Tech. What can id Tech do for Halo? What can id Tech do for the Coalition? What can all this new technology do for our properties that we have right now? We have world-class developers that we have brought into the fold now. And he's talking like this. He's like excited about the games. So holy cow, man. That alone is awesome. Imagine, okay, Arcane Studios, we got that new Perfect Dark game coming out. Arcane Austin, they make they're like the Dishonored guys, Prey, what was the other one? Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, that was it. So yeah, and then they do have the Leon studio. They're working on Deathloop. Thank you. And on that note, Phil Spencer straight up started by saying, we will honor current contracts.
Bring that up if you didn't. Yeah.
We will honor current contracts, but he straight up said, this is what was the exact verbiage, where the Xbox Game Pass platform is. So wherever the Xbox Game Pass platform is, that's where they want to showcase these games. Anyway, so just watching his excitement for the possibilities of his own studios, because he knows that this is really cool that they're buying these amazing properties, right? These are some of the most fun games out there, and that's cool enough as it is. But the fact that all these are already such a collaborative team, they don't have that's very exciting for him as a boss, because he doesn't have to try to engage with that. So many teams are very much in software development or in technology in general, they're very like hoardish, coveted, like this is my tech, type thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that these are so collaborative is huge. It's very good news just for us as gamers. They did go through the individual games themselves. We don't really need to go too much into it. I always love Dinga Baka Baba from Arcane. He's charming as heck, so just go watch his thing. He's so cute. He said he's like, I still get starstruck whenever he's like, because he's like, I came into Arcane when they were already established, and he's like, I still get starstruck when I meet, like when I met Todd Howard the first time for the first time. He's like, but they probably just think I'm French, so I pass it off like my befuddlement. he's
Right.
like, so now I'm going to be around all these other people. Yeah, so it's very, very endearing. It was very sweet watching him go through all of it.
Yeah, just in general, like the whole Xbox Game Pass situation, and hearing you talk about how passionate all these other people, especially Phil Spencer, talk about developing games and developing and sharing tech. Um, say what you will about corporations, say what you will about Microsoft in general, or even Bethesda, but uh, you can tell the sorts of business decisions that they are making. They will generally benefit everyone who has stake in the business in the long run, but all their decision making is benefiting consumers, gamers specifically, so much. Having access to all these titles for a small monthly fee, having long-term support for all these titles in terms of backward compatibility with new hardware coming out incrementally. um, this is almost like the dream that we never dreamt when we were younger. This is kind of the perfect confluence of ethics and profit for them. Because yeah, we will benefit tremendously, hopefully from their direction as well. Being able to have all of these powerhouses together, hopefully will send video game development into a further bright new future for all of us.
Thank you for bringing this up again, because I actually had forgotten. I wanted to mention about the risk thing. Okay, Todd Howard specifically said he really is intrigued about Game Pass, because he said we can make smaller games that we would never get funding for or get okayed for at at ZeniMax, because they have to prove it to the shareholders. Now they can just say, hey Phil, we want to make this weird thing, but we don't know how it's going to work. It won't sell. It's like, okay, put it on Game Pass. It will generate revenue for them. So like that's really cool, man. Like it just seems that they're just fun. Because remember, Microsoft has infinite money, so like these studios are a drop in the bucket for them, right? They exist for entertainment purposes for us. Now that they're okay, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Now that they are first party studios, they exist to just sell the platform. That is it. They don't have to make money. They don't have to. They get the budget. Like look at God of War. Look at Ghost of Tsushima. Look at Spider-Man. Those games are great because they have infinite funding. They are allowed to bake. They exist solely to sell PlayStation 5s, or PlayStations exist. They exist solely to sell PlayStation. That is the purpose of first party games. They don't have to make money. They can be they can cost a lot of money to make, and then they just sell the console, right? That's the whole point. So now that you have these first party games that are on Microsoft, they just get the funding. If Phil likes the product, they just got to sell Phil on the product. Seriously, that's the way it works. He controls the funding, and if he likes it, if they like it all the way down, that's they say go, man. It's pretty cool.
And it's really unfortunate, like seeing time and time again, like all these benefits that the Xbox team are doling out for Xbox users, or just gamers in general who have Game Pass or the hardware. One of the things that we've touched upon before is Xbox's fantastic backward compatibility streak that they got going on, making sure that all these titles from yesterday and today will maintain support all through the future, hopefully, with all their new hardware. And seeing as they do that, seeing how Sony lags behind with the PlayStation environment in terms of like save data migration, title compatibility, whether titles will actually be able to utilize the improved hardware of the PS5 versus the PS4. So it's great that Sony has all these first party titles to help sell the hardware, but once they've sold that particular hardware, they stop being useful for Sony. Whereas Xbox's titles will just always be there to help them sell, not just sell their environment, but will give gamers the confidence to stay in that environment and to be invested in that environment.
On the topic of back compatibility, it's huge. Microsoft has a team that is dedicated to making sure games are backwards compatible and they perform well, older games. And they have a new effort now that is the FPS 60 boost. They originally started with these first games up to actually 120. Now, they just added these at the event. They added Prey, Sniper Elite 4, Skyrim, UFC 4, and Watch Dogs 2 to their 60 FPS boost mode, which is awesome, right? But they you can go back and play an Xbox. I can go play Lost Odyssey and it'll run great, right? I can't say that for PlayStation side. I got no problem with championing one or the other. I'm not a fanboy. I'm a fan of video games, period, man. I don't participate in the console wars. I have a PlayStation. I love Sony property, man. They have some of my favorite IP on the planet. But Microsoft didn't. But now I love Bethesda stuff, man. I really like all those companies. I think Todd Howard is a bit of a blowhard sometimes. But
Yes.
I think Pete Hines, it's very interesting if you watch it. Just his personality, man, it's pretty gnarly. And seeing the marketing teams let them duke it out, because the developers are having the win with the with Phil at the top. So anyway, I got no. The only thing I'm excited about is new content from cool devs, and if these guys seem happy, then that's pretty cool.
It was kind of interesting when you were bringing up. I remember that back in the day, there was very little to no shareholder confidence in the Xbox brand, and I do recall that they were trying to axe it. So it's kind of interesting that back then they were kind of shooting themselves in the foot about the Xbox, but they've done a complete 180 on it now.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still people within, but once Xbox Live really started making money, that's when it really started changing. Yeah, and then
as long as it makes money, then stakeholders are happy. So.
Well, because it's a free thing, right? It's a service. That's what they do now. Microsoft, they have service infrastructure as a service, and platform PaaS and IaaS, infrastructure and platform as a service. Like, for example, Azure. I personally looked at Azure recently as an option for my company's disaster recovery. It's pretty cool. Amazon has the same type of thing. You have a VM in Azure, and you kind of have a firewall there, and it has, if you have a failover, it fails over to your other side. They can't, there are some technical limitations for that. But anyway, that they want to sell you service. That's what they like to do now. They want to sell you Office subscriptions. They want to sell you Xbox Game Pass subscriptions. And if they could get you with Xbox Game Pass, Office 365, and give and then get your Xbox in there. They got you for like $30 a month or whatever. That's a huge amount of money for them, from every single person that's playing on that platform. So that's just what they exist to do. Another thing Microsoft is doing that I don't want to forget, we can just kind of roll right into it. The Game Pass versions are getting fixed, just like the or the Game Pass PC versions are getting fixed, just like the back compat on the Xbox
Yep.
3, on the Xbox X, and man, on the console, pardon. And man, oh man, is that exciting, because Nier is a Garbo on the PC. I've used that far mod. I used a special K mod. It's Garbo. I recently replayed through Nier on the PS5. It was the PS4 version, but it's brute force, 60 frames. It was the most stable I've ever played it. I personally don't think I'm ever going to play Nier again. I've played it. I played it now 3 full times. I've done a save erase. This latest one, my characters are all level 99 now. I did all the arena stuff. I beat the game. I don't think I'm ever going to go back, but
I'm absolutely doing this though.
For my friends, yes. For my other friends, this game, I love this. One of my all time. I could gush. We should do one of our new.
Yep, I gotcha.
Yes, cool. Okay, expect some future content from Nier for sure, especially from me with the remake. Anyway, it's also with the Evil Within. And that's the other one.
It's getting a first-person mode, just like Evil Within 2.
Oh,
Stability increases. I remember running. Oh my gosh, running that on my PC would absolutely be fine if it just weren't for the fact that it's just an unstable mess on Steam.
It's the worst, dude. It was bad on PS3 though. That game has always been bad.
Yes,
I'm so eager to play it. It has always been. It played like garbage on the PS3, 30 frames, letterbox, super terrible, extreme letter. What's that called when it's like top and bottom letterboxed? What's
that is letterbox. So the vertical bars are pillar boxing.
Thank you, pillar boxing.
Yeah.
It had both.
It's just that like super wide frame aspect ratio. Completely unnecessary.
So it was that, and it ran. That was the first way I played it on PS3. And it was garbage. And then on the PC release, it's still really bad. I would love Evil Within 2 controls wonderfully. First person mode, I love it. I highly recommend it. Play with a mouse. It's so freaking fun. But playing with a mouse, you played on a mouse, dude. I don't know how you did it. It's so bad.
Because and it's just like with Resident Evil 4, sometimes the gamepad controls don't feel that much better, especially with RE4 because it's not a modern control scheme still, because you don't have strafe. Every time that you aim with your gun, you're stopped. So honestly, doing it with keyboard mouse, like there were some difficulties with it, but it wasn't that much worse. And I've been playing a lot more keyboard mouse stuff lately. So keyboard mouse stuff lately.
Nice.
So it just felt more natural at the time. But that look reset on the mouse was just brutal. Anyway.
Regardless, it's still bad on Evil Within, even now. So I'm going to give it a go. First person mode. Expect that playthrough. Because I love the Evil Within. I think I like. I've talked about this recently. We watched Lyrep and Alien Senpai. Shout out Lyrep. Shout out Alien Senpai. Both played through the Evil Within 1. But it was like a background thing, so I need to play it myself again. It's been a minute since I played through that one to see which one I actually like better. I tend to think I like 2 better, simply because I think I like the bad guy better. And you kind of already know what's happening, so you kind of go into it with less what is going on and more let's go. So, and they have more fun straight away.
I know that they said it for Nier, that it is going to include all the DLC that's come out for it. I would imagine that Evil Within is still going to have the Kidman episodes, but that's the other wonderful thing. I'm sorry, apparently this is the sing Xbox's praises episode, but
I'm happy to do it.
A lot of the games that are coming out on Game Pass generally will contain all of the downloadable content for those games, so that you do get to experience, or get the full experience. Is that what it says?
You have it on screen. Do you see this? This bundle includes.
This is a small resolution.
Sorry. Here, let me click over to the Budsday full screen. Okay, this bundle includes the Evil Within and all season pass content. Cool, man. The Kidman episode is essential. It gives you all the background to see what happened with Kidman when she was disappearing. Ooh.
I don't care for the stealth in those episodes, but story-wise, they were fantastic.
Story-wise, yeah.
But I would definitely consider playing the Evil Within a second time simply because of these improvements. But
Yes.
yes.
While we're on the subject of the Evil Within, you got to watch at least the Shinji Mikami section of it. It's so nice. He seems so awesome as like because he's said publicly that he wants to retire. He's like, I'm getting old. And he made Tango initially with younger developers in mind. Ikumi Yakamura, man, hopefully she's trying to get her own studio. Woo, hopefully, let's go, man. The stuff that'll come out of her brain. Woo, I'm excited. But yeah, so he's trying to give them more encouragement. It's really cool to see. I'm very excited to play Ghostwire Tokyo. It's nothing like this, but that's what's exciting about it. We've seen what he can do. We know how awesome he is, like what's in his mind here. Now this will be his younger team and seeing what they kind of accomplish, you know.
I saw this today and I thought this was actually really cool. I did not realize that this was a feature that they already had on the Xbox. But so for those who don't know, or you probably heard the term HDR before, high dynamic range. And these terms were referring to displays, which are able to display a larger difference in contrasts or like ranges of color and brightness than traditional displays. And it requires new hardware, and also requires updated application programming interfaces, which is just basically like, if you know DirectX or you've heard of the DirectX libraries, they're just ways of programming your games to be able to communicate with your graphics hardware. And what they've been able to do is start rolling out a beta for the PC that they've already had for the Xbox for developers to be able to test out a auto HDR. Normally, you would have to program your engine by hand. Well, not by hand, but you would have to actively program your game's engine to be able to handle larger ranges of color than standard displays have been able to do for the longest time now. I think I've complained a lot in my streams about colors and brightnesses and shadows being clipped, and so they're just like completely solid, and you lose information. But without developers having to redo their game engines, um, Auto HDR will bring back some of that detail in the shadows, some of that detail in the highlights. And as someone who works in digital photography and film photography, being able to get like, eke that extra bit of goodness hidden in the extremes is always just like, it just feels really gooey and delicious. And here for their demonstration, they show Gears 5 Hive Busters, a comparison of the standard dynamic range, basically just how the game looks on a normal non HDR display. And then they show a comparison between the auto HDR and the native HDR, native HDR being the game engine being purposefully programmed to be able to handle larger or extended color and brightness information. And based on the heat map that they show here, it's a pretty good approximation going from auto to native. And so being able to have this as an option for people who are using, have this as an option for devs whose games are using DirectX 11, DirectX 12 to be able to give people who have HDR displays that much more uh, use of those displays in older games that they don't have to redevelop anything for. As someone who really wants to get an HDR display, this is very exciting to see. So that there's now a huge library of games that will soon be able to take advantage of that. I imagine it's still going to require developers to actively update their titles in order to take advantage of this. That is my understanding. Otherwise, Windows in the future might give users the ability to activate this themselves, but we'll see. I would like to see it demonstrated on Xbox hardware at some point when if I ever upgrade my display and get an Xbox, which would be nice to be able to do in some point in the future. But yeah, I'm excited. Larger color information and brightness information is always a great deal in my book.
I completely agree. I've always wanted an HDR display. A couple years ago, that was kind of what I was looking for, but they kind of never really manifested. It kind of lost its hype, and they don't have like there are two different types of HDR. Yeah, there's like full luminescence where it's like really bright, and then there's like a less bright one that's not as good. I don't remember the details anymore.
I do recall there being a couple of different methods
That are local
were,
dimming.
okay, yeah, that too. But I think also in terms of how they deliver the color information
Hmm.
at a data level, I can't recall actually. But yeah, anyway.
Regardless, they seem to have gone away from computer monitors, and they seem to only be on television size monitors these days
Yeah.
for HDR displays. So we'll see. I'm waiting for. I want to buy a 4K. 120 hertz would be nice. Well, faster would be better. Truly, if you have never used a high refresh rate display, you are missing out. If you've ever, I grew up with CRTs, and Cassette and I have mused about this before, but I had a Sony Vega TV, and I had a Sony Trinitron monitor that was 1600 by 900 resolution and that was 2001, which was awesome, dude. 21 inch, no, 17 inch. Wait, no, that one was 21 inch. One of those two. Free. One was yeah. Because it was the Trinitron with the had like a gray. You could see the wire right down the middle of the screen because that's actually what held the CRT in place. It was the one kind of thing. But man, oh man, you'd have like super high resolution or super high frame rate. And even now, it would be so beautiful. They're huge though. I mean, it was like a huge CRT. Anyway, going from those displays to LCDs was such a jarring experience. I'm still using, Cassette is using one, and I'm still using one. Back in 2001, I bought my first, what are these, 1650 by 1650 by 10 something?
1680 by 1050.
By 1050, yeah.
16 by 10 monitors.
16 by 10, yeah. And they're IPS. They're very nice. It's just they're 60 hertz. And back then, even now, VA and TN panels are faster, but IPS are getting a whole lot better. And they're way more color accurate. Anyway, my whole point was that the monitors that are coming out, they seem to be focused more on speed, which is great. I don't know if we're really going to get HDR stuff. The new set of monitors that look. If you want to buy the new one, what you do is you're looking for the HDMI 2.1 monitors. Now, apparently, the current crop can run like the consoles, but if you want to be totally in line with the standard, whenever you see an HDMI 2.1 monitor with that goes up to 120 hertz, that's HDMI 2.1 spec for it, and that'll work with the PlayStation. They don't currently support like 1440p out. There is one. There are a couple monitors that I've been considering. We won't go into the whole thing right now, but you could do it and make it work. But those are the next bit. My whole point is, man, going from 60 to 120 is like night and day. 60 to 100 is night and day. 120 to 160 is bigger. 160 to 240 is insane. I did buy, when I bought my monitor is a 1440p G-Sync. What's 144 hertz, but you can overclock it to 165, and I definitely do notice a difference. But I also purchased an Asus monitor that was 240, but it was only 1080p, so it had that really bad screen door effect. Like, it was fast and really buttery smooth, but man, I could just tell, right? And this is a 1440p monitor, and that the pixels per inch, the PPI is so much nicer just to look at as a text monitor. So yeah, I went for that option. But man, these new ones, if we got some that was HDR, 200 hertz, IPS display, probably wouldn't be IPS, probably be VA or TN, but who knows? So I'm looking. I'm waiting for that because I want a 4K monitor. I don't have a 4K TV. I don't even have a TV. I've never had a 4K monitor, and that's what I want to go to next. Because for productivity, I run out of desk space right now on my PC. I have two 1440p monitors, and I run out of desk space.
If I could edit photos on a 4K monitor, that would be amazing.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so the next bit is a new studio from Sony. This is being led by Jade Raymond, who is famous for Assassin's Creed. She worked on MGS4. She worked on Assassin's Creed 2. She worked on Splinter Cell. She worked on Watch Dogs. She worked on Far Cry. Legendary producer and managing director. The last thing that she was working on was going to Stadia, but then she left once everything went to heck recently, and now she's been picked up and gonna be leading Haven. So this is pretty exciting. I don't know what they're gonna do, but please be excited, because this could be pretty sick, whatever they're coming out with next.
The fact that they're bringing in someone who did Assassin's Creed, and especially Assassin's Creed 2, probably my favorite Assassin's Creed. And it was MGS4 or MGS2 that she worked on?
4.
I mean, just the fact that they're bringing this particular person on to helm a new studio for brand new IP is definitely something to be excited for.
Yeah, she worked with Patrice Desilets, who I really liked. I didn't play his newest game, Ancestors. He had I could do a whole thing on Patrice, man. He was the guy that he was the original concept creator, for Assassin's Creed. He did Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. He's the creator of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Okay.
And he's the one that then adapted that into Altair and Assassin's Creed and all that. He's the one that gave the presentation talking about the Hashashin when he talked about it. And if you remember way back when they first announced Assassin's Creed, he's a really I liked his vibe.
I got to see that
for a long time. He eventually he left, and then he was trying to make his own ship stuff, and then they got Ubisoft bought his company, and then they incorporated that into Black Flag, if I recall correctly, or something like that. Or it was the new ship one. It was something like that, where he just kept trying to leave, and they bought his company and then incorporated the tech. He's had a weird time. And then he did that one recently called Ancestors or whatever, where you play as the ape, and then you have to go around and kind of be a survival game. It looked kind of neat, but I don't know. I watched George Weidman and Super Bunny Hop do a video on it, and I kind of passed after that. So anyway, total. This is here nor there. Good luck. I hope he has a cool game coming out. And Jade, good luck.
Yeah.
This is pretty sick. Shin Megami Tensei 3. I'm gonna play this. Are you gonna play this?
I'm absolutely playing this.
Heck yeah.
Nocturne is going to be coming out finally in the West, because apparently it's already out in Japan.
Yeah, man.
We'll never understand why we still have staggered releases like that. But May 25th on PC, PS4, and Switch.
For what it's worth, they when this was announced last year, they did say the next Shin Megami Tensei is going to come out at the same time. This was the only one that was delayed.
Goodness.
Because this one came out last October.
Yeah,
if I recall.
Yes, okay. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I do know that this one is notorious for being an extremely difficult game, even by Shin Megami Tensei standards. I partly because it's very labyrinthine with the way that it does its dungeon navigation. But
I think that's all SMT, yeah.
I would not be
they
surprised.
Just exchange the social stuff for just basically all tough labyrinth grinding. I've never played SMT. Yes. I love Persona games, but I've never played SMT myself.
Yeah, I've only been introduced to Persona end of 2019, I think it was, with Persona 5, and since then I've been really wanting to try something a little bit more along the lines of their traditional combat and storytelling system.
Super fun battle systems.
Oh, yeah, they are.
So you guys, we got to rewind. So Cassette still is, I am too, Final Fantasy 7 vein, it comes from that vein. Yeah. But then I always used, the joke is it's a button simulator. And then you
really is.
And then you get games
it's not a very complicated battle system.
No, they're very straightforward. Then you get games like Octopath or Bravely Default and Persona SMT. I mean, they're just so fun. So you want to watch the trailer? I want to watch the trailer. We started to watch this and we paused it because we're like, let's just record and watch in real time. We're full screen.
I still love playing things in their original native PS2 environment.
I do too. I love PS2 graphics.
What a great time.
This is so Mega Man Legends, though, the way they have the camera fixed in the middle of the screen. Yeah.
A world that loses its power will fade into nothing. Instead, I can invite you to the world that is to come.
The frame rate's a little rough, though.
It is.
Or should I say, Timmy?
Hopefully that won't be indicative of the
What's up,
how the
Pixie?
final product is.
This place is crawling with them.
So if you love Persona enemies, heck yeah. Look at that frame rate's a little gnarly,
The
bud.
world will fall for its sins.
Is this only on Switch or is it on other stuff?
Vanish.
No, PC, PS4, and Switch.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to be getting it on PC.
And I was given
Heck yeah.
Hopefully it'll be stable. Hopefully it won't have issues like Persona 4 Golden did when it came out, where if you run it at 60 FPS, it still had game logic that was tied to the frame rate.
Unfortunate.
The artists that they get to do the character designs and the demon and angel designs for the SMT series, all the SMT series, they're just so talented. Look at the way that they do the eyes for these characters. It's just so great. PS2 truly was
Broken.
We love our Jack Frost.
Black Frost broken.
The PS2 was truly a crossroads of game design and art direction. Son and I have talked here and there about just like how much we still love PS1 graphics and PS2 graphics, of course, but
Absolutely.
the way that developers had put together just like the look and feel of their games for that older hardware to make them still be just truly captivating experiences. I know that we've made so many strides in the technology, but there was just they were captivating in such a different way. And yes, I'm wearing my nostalgia goggles right now. Absolutely, I will
I'm
admit
right
that.
on. I'm right on with you. I love the way they look, dude. Okay, so Square Enix, Forspoken. Should we just hit play, watch it, and then we'll talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
hide.
Is that a motherfucking dragon?
Dark Souls.
Is it gone?
Yes, and we should leave this place as well.
With that thing out there?
Okay,
Our
y'all.
character model looks fantastic.
Square Enix, Cassette. What engine?
Luminous,
Luminous,
engine,
baby.
perhaps.
Luminous, baby. Luminous,
It is
baby.
done by Luminous Productions.
Luminous,
So
baby.
I imagine that your favorite engine is
Luminous,
still in
baby.
play, sir.
Luminous, baby. Look at it.
Look at this gameplay.
Look at it.
That is incredible movement. These are incredible environments. Son, you have sold, I mean, this game cements it, but you have sold me on the Luminous Engine, the way that you've gushed about it for Final Fantasy 15. It is a shame that, I mean, this is taken away from the trailer, but it is a shame that so much resources were put into developing this engine and it took so long for it to get to where it did.
Yeah.
And that it isn't more widely used by Square Enix, but the fact that they are still supporting it to me is great, because it's cool that we have Unity and Unreal and id Tech and all those other engines that other developers can license to use. Is id Tech licensable?
Not anymore. No, not since ZeniMax bought Bethesda.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Gotcha.
id.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No, not anymore. It
But,
used to be that. I always thought that was one of the biggest mistakes that ZeniMax did, was not license it out, because that was the biggest competitor to Unreal. And Intech was so good before too, man. All those Quake 2 games, Call of Duty, bud, forever.
and the fact that I can't think of a title before Doom that was really pushing for it, but it seemed like they were very much pushing for the Vulkan API, which is a alternative to DirectX, kind of like OpenGL was, or still is, I suppose.
Still is.
For all you 90s and early 2000s gamers that were on PC and had to use OpenGL because your DirectX stuff was never up to snuff. But
Or you just had a
Or you
video
were on
card.
Mac.
If you were you were in a Voodoo. Voodoo is Voodoo 2, buddy. It was Voodoo Glide, OpenGL Voodoo Glide.
Gotcha,
Yeah, dude. I didn't bring it up, but Marty Stratton, the studio director of id Software now, ever since Carmack left, he was talking also about the freedom that they get and how he's excited about interacting with other studios and all that. So yeah, it seems that they're all on board. It's pretty cool. So let's do a quick little recap of Final Fantasy 15. I love Final Fantasy 15. I've gushed about it. Cassette said it just a second ago. I'll have to do a whole video on it maybe. Final Fantasy 15 is amazing. I love that game. I highly recommend it. You should totally watch. It's essential, required reading. Kingsglaive and Ancillary Brotherhood, not required, but definitely will benefit your experience. I love that engine. It is beautiful. So we're gonna give the quick watch of the original Agni's Philosophy reveal. What is this, 2012 or 2013, something like that?
2015.
Yeah, exciting. No, this is not 2015. Agni's Philosophy? Wasn't this 2012? Yeah, 2012. Yeah.
Oh wow, that far back. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the real-time tech demo. Look at that.
Do I invoke the ancient pact of binding? Once more, the wicked stand before us, threatening the sacred communion between your realm and mine.
Oh, I remember this so well now. Yeah.
From the time-torn rift shall our power rage forth and rain down destruction. Abre y desir, la presa bru hoiti.
You can really see how far the engine has come too. It
Yeah.
looks beautiful in this.
Yes.
But you can definitely feel like the differences in color rendering and lighting.
Yes, especially the
even
skin.
detail. Yeah. I wonder if they even had subsurface scattering in this version of the engine. I wonder if they'll ever do something with this concept to turn it into a full-fledged game or maybe something else.
This is incredible, though.
Oh, let's go.
That is awesome.
Oh, not even Bahamut. That's something else entirely.
Something else entirely, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome. GG.
It's interesting circling back to our discussion about that auto HDR stuff. You can see back then, like all the clipped highlights and the really muddy shadows that they would have in, well, basically any game engine. But we've come such a long way for color and light rendition.
This was the next. This was the 2015 one that they released. The Witch Chapter 0. This was what they teased after that. Yeah. That's so cool, man. She looks like Morrigan from Dragon Age.
I've never gotten to play that series.
Oh, it's so good, man. Dragon Age Origins. Oh, I have so many hours in it. Play Baldur's Gate first, though, and then play Dragon Age. Seriously. Baldur's Gate's way better.
They also started teasing some stuff about Dragon Age 4, so
exciting. I didn't play Inquisition though, and I did not like 2. Origins is just what you got to play. Yeah.
Gotcha. You can already start to see some improvements in their engine in those 3 years.
So then this one, the Project Athia, this was last year. And this is kind of the first look culmination. Let's watch. So then we know Final Fantasy 15 happened. Oh, we know Final Fantasy 15 happened. We also know Tabata left. Unfortunately, we didn't get the final DLC, so it's a bummer. And so we thought it was kind of ended. So, behold. Well, we already saw it. We watched the new trailer.
Wow. This engine, though. This world design.
Yeah. Okay, can we watch it one more time?
Let's do it.
Cool. Project Athia.
Hide.
Is that a motherfucking dragon? Is it gone?
Yes, and we should leave this place as well.
With that thing out there?
I want to know with that second disembodied voice if this is a sort of Cortana or like Grimoire Vice situation.
Ooh.
Forspoken. Yeah, man,
She's got some Noctis moves right there.
I cannot wait to run through these environments.
Heck yes. Your girl's got some Noctis moves and some Spidey Man moves.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're calling this a narrative-driven adventure game, aka it's a single-player story. Cool, excellent. I'm very excited for that. It's beautiful. It's leaving enough, or it's given us enough crumbs to kind of get excited for what kind of narrative they are going to weave for us to enjoy. Yeah, more titles like this, please, Square. This is great. And Luminous Engine is just on fire.
Chef's kiss. Oh, I forgot about this. Hey, everybody. We were chatting with Cassette at the end, and I mentioned the new TMNT game, and he was, there's a new TMNT game. And I went, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about it. We didn't record it. So here we are. We're going to watch it. This is the first time Cassette has not watched the actual gameplay at all. This is being published by .emu, the same people that published Streets of Rage remake. So we're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch the trailer. We're gonna listen to it. The vocals are sung by Mike Patton of Faith No More and Mr. Bungle. Let's go.
So classic. But it's so awesome that they got to be able to work on a property like this.
Wait for it, Cassette. Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines. Michelangelo's a party dude.
It's been so long, I've forgotten about all of these different villains.
Oh, dude. General Bauer. Here you go. Look.
Oh, this is gorgeous.
Look. Different run animations for each character.
And they're going full pixel.
Oh, yeah, baby. Look at the CRTs. Look at the CRTs. I'll let it play first. Don't go back.
Oh, okay, this is with Nickelodeon. Got it.
But this looks like the looks like the 90s. This is the Turtles I know. Check this out. One thing that I thought was really cool. Okay, right here. So you see like pixel, they have like the darker outline around like the characters, right?
Yeah.
And then like the background doesn't have the darker outline.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I know where you're going with that. Yep.
It's pretty classic 2D pixel art style. And then you see like the chairs have the darker outline, so you know those are interactable. It's pretty cool, man. They're taking into consideration a lot of really good stuff. Like I really like right here. This will be interactable. This will be interactable. This will be interactable.
I love that really plays into 2D animation, having cell shaded animated elements, and then having the matte paintings for the backgrounds that aren't going to be moving. So I never really thought about that too much, at least recently. That's actually really cool.
Oh yeah, it's like
As
whenever you
language.
Whenever you that's pretty yeah. If you I actually there's some pretty cool pixel artists on Twitter that I follow, and they talk a lot about that. But yeah, it's like when you watch an old cartoon like that, you can always tell whenever the interactive like rock is gonna get knocked down because it's totally colored a little bit different. Yeah. Anyway, cool. All right, well, cut us into wherever we're reaching next. We'll see you on the other side, bud. Cheers.
See you, Pat, Son, and Cassette.
Night. Okay, we got to give a quick shout out. Symphony of the Night, first released 1997. I remember this day. I remember when this came out, actually. Freaking heck, man. I love Castlevania. especially Castlevania 4. Do 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 do. I love the music. But this one, this was the first Koji Igarashi Igavania games, and he introduced like Metroid style elements to and RPG leveling to the Castlevania format. Castlevania was always brutally hard. I still think if you play Castlevania 3, if you play any of them, play 3 and 4, of course. Super Castlevania 4, the music alone, but Castlevania 3 is amazing. You can skip 1 and 2, especially 2, 2's tough and very obtuse. 3, great music, super hard gameplay, super fun though. 4, hard gameplay, fun. Let me get us into chatting. I'm here. This one though, if you've never played Symphony of the Night, it is just an actual masterpiece of a game. You recently played through it. I used to play through this game once a year, and I haven't done it in a couple years now. But it is one of my all-time top 5 favorite games. It has one of the best secrets mid-game. That's amazing and wonderful. How did you come to it, and how do you feel about it?
So it was one of the titles that you talked about a bunch before, and you know we've talked about Metroidvanias in general a ton. So it was kind of it's basically an almost like gaming must play, just because it's so essential to the development of so many games since. And so I did finally get to have my try at it, and I have tried Castlevania. I think I played Castlevania 3 before this, or at least attempted to, and I have to admit it's not my kind of gameplay. But taking some of the concepts of that and applying more of an RPG system to it, but still keeping the exploration, and then giving your character so much wonderful movement and being able to feel so powerful. It is just a joy of a game to experience, and the twist in the middle is just um at sometimes very frustrating, but also at the same time oh my goodness, like experiencing this game is experiencing peak. I mean, this is a really strong statement to make, but just peak game design. And I wish I could say more, so much, but if you have never played this game, please go play it. I would argue that it is accessible. The way that you've described it before is like with a lot of other RPG games. If it's hard, keep leveling up and you will become stronger, and it won't be hard anymore. Because yeah, this one, everyone should give themselves the chance to experience. It's on multiple platforms at this point. I played the PS1 version, but it's on Vita, PS3 as well, so you could probably get it on PS4. I don't think there's a PC version, but there are ways to enjoy it in the year 2021.
So I just realized that I was talking muted. So Cassette was probably giving some good tips. Yes, about availability. It has been released on PS4. It comes with a Rondo of Blood. I think it was Rondo of Blood.
Yeah, thank you.
As maybe Bloodlines as well.
Yes.
Yeah. That one is also, that one's traditional Castlevania style though. Which is still awesome. You can't level up. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. Love it. It also, I gotta give just a shout out. Michiru Yamane, the composer for like all these games. Yeah, she's fucking. Dang it! My first curse. This was at 1:40. 2 hours. We're 2 hours in. 1:48. We've been going for a while. Yeah, she's an amazing composer. If you've never, this is one of the few soundtracks back in the day. I actually had the CD for it in my car, like visor, like next to like Death by Stereo, AFI, Unearth, Dashboard, Newfound Glory, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It was awesome. The soundtrack's so good. Shout out this game. This game's so good. Oops, I've been on the. Here you go. Shout out Symphony of the Night. We love you. Welcome, friends. We had a little break. Now we're back to talk about the latest news in Final Fantasy VII Remastered Saga, including Final Fantasy VII Intergrade, First Soldier, Ever Crisis, and a new interview with Nomura from Famitsu magazine. Hi, Cassette.
Hey, son. Welcome back.
I'm just going to keep the tunes playing in the background. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. This was exciting. We got some more news. We got some clarification. What I suspected last week. Excuse me. If you may have seen in the Budsday Discord, I was actually listening back to our podcast. It was funny. I was doing some wireless testing at work, and I just needed some constant audio to play back, and I hadn't heard it yet, so I was just listening to it. And we had spoken about the versions, about the patching. Do you recall when we were talking about when I said
was it the different SKUs?
Yeah, Devil May Cry 5. It only exists in a special edition. Only exists on PlayStation 5 currently because the PlayStation 4 cannot run turbo mode or Legendary Dark Knight mode. So instead, when they released Virgil as a package, they released a new SKU so they can totally disregard the old console versions and just have the PlayStation 5 version. So expect to see Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition on PC sometime. I would guess this year, maybe, probably.
Hopefully.
If not next year, and it'll probably be like $29. I'll make you rebuy it. Like I don't know though, because Devil May Cry 4 came out in like 2007. Special edition on PC came out in like 2014. Man, it was like 7 years later, something like that. It was nuts.
Wow.
Excuse me. Yeah. So, anyway, what I hypothesized in the Discord. Let me go back. Let me pull up my comment. This was last week. I said, so I think I was listening. Oh yeah. I think the reason for the PlayStation version, what they had said was that they're gonna just. We didn't understand the patch or how it was happening. So what I'm hypothesizing is that the PSN version that you get for free is actually the PlayStation 4 version. And then if you buy Yuffie, that will upgrade you to Intergrade. And Intergrade is the PS5 version that they will eventually release on PC and Xbox.
Got it.
So when
sounds about right.
Yeah. So when you buy going forward, when you buy Intergrade, and they even said he straight up clarified, yeah. So he said we had to call this so. For the sake of separating the PS5 upgrade with the Yuffie added parts, here, let me just go full screen here. We had to call this part, quote, DLC. However, we had already decided to create a Final Fantasy 4 or Final Fantasy 7 Remaster PS5 version. There you go. There's the new SKU, but we did not want it to mean we were specifically creating DLC as well. So they created, quote, DLC, but it's not really DLC. It's just the new version, just like Virgil, right? And special edition of DMC5 with Legendary Dark Knight mode. Okay, so as a result, we really have no plans for any other DLC. Exactly. This is Intergrade. This is the new SKU moving forward. There won't be any DLC. This is the new game, the final version of the game. With Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, we're able to adjust the PlayStation 5 environment exactly like they did with Special Edition Devil May Cry. So here it is, which makes an easy transition to development for the next installment. The roadwork we have laid out completes the entire story, takes priority. Wait, sorry. The roadwork we have laid out to complete the entire story takes priority, and if we're ever to add DLC, it will not be until the very end, which is kind of neat. But what this means here, in the future, PlayStation 5 only. The next version of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, PlayStation 5 only.
Which is probably really good to have all of their episodes in a unified environment that way. I mean, again,
what do you mean unified? No. The old one was PlayStation 4. This is now PlayStation 5 moving forward.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Is like from here on out, having it all on PS5 is probably best for them to keep everything consistent and whatnot. But
Well,
obviously
and the
because
upgrades. You've seen the video. The trailer was amazing. What they changed.
yeah, seeing that load time where it was just like a few seconds jumping into the actual gameplay from the menu, that is incredible. That game is slow.
And give us loadouts, baby, please.
I'm so hoping. We could only be so lucky.
So what they wasn't just about Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, but anyway, so that's the whole reasoning, and yeah, that was why I was a little confused last time about how they were going to make that that version free, and then just be able to patch it. And in reality, it's just going to upgrade you to Intergrade once you do the PS4 upgrade. Mm-hmm. They also talked about First Soldier. Now this was pretty telling. Essentially, what they've done here. I took some notes. We don't got to read the whole interview. Where's my First Soldier notes? Okay, so they have jobs, which is kind of neat. He said his Final Fantasy VII doesn't historically have jobs, but they want you to have jobs in there, so they're going to have individual styles. That could be pretty cool. The biggest thing that I wanted to
that idea.
Me too. The biggest thing I wanted to highlight here is, so he straight up says the BR genre is crowded. People that want to play BR are already playing BR. Fortnite, PUBG, all those, it's already happening. So what he says is, we want to bring in Final Fantasy VII fans because they will come and play a game because it has lore, and Final Fantasy VII is awesome. Final Fantasy World is awesome. Combat is awesome. The magic is awesome. It's just awesome. Everything, the assets are awesome. But what the really encouraging thing they said was core planner, producer Ichikawa is a hardcore BR gamer himself. So they brought him in as a core planner to the system, and Nomura straight up says it was really awesome. Here, let me highlight this. At the bottom, he says, "I have given my own amateur feedback, and as such, he is well versed in the genre. He is able to answer the ideas that I give him and how exactly they can be represented in the battle royale game. I am able to talk with him without any hesitation." That is incredible. That is so flattering coming from Nomura. I mean, that is amazing. So he straight up says he's very keen on hearing feedback from everyone and making adjustments accordingly. This could actually be kind of a good game. If you like BR games. It sucks that it's mobile only. Maybe it'll come to Switch. I'm not really into BR, but man, if you're into BR, this seems like it may be kind of good. Who knows? Yeah, it looked fun.
Give it a try when it comes out and let us know how you dig it.
I mean, showing from what they show with the combat and everything. But what this really shows is this is pretty cool of Nomura to kind of take a step back too, man. I think that's really big of him. It shows he's kind of growing too, man. I don't know. Or he's just kind of hands off. Or he's like, if this fails, it's not my fault. That could be too. But it was very obvious that they said, okay, we built a BR game. BR is too crowded. Final Fantasy? Okay.
It is really great when people can admit, like, this particular thing isn't my wheelhouse, and so like I will defer to others, because a lot of other people who would be in Nomura's shoes probably would just say, no, I'm just going to make a BR game, and I'm just going to make it what I think a BR game is.
Well, him too. It'd probably be for the worst. He'd put his own spin on everything for the worst, Anyway, so the final bit was about Ever Crisis. Heck yeah. If you don't know, Ever Crisis is the remake in the style that we all thought it was going to be. It's going to be released monthly starting in 2022, right? The biggest thing, though, is right here when they say, let me go full screen. Each chapter will be free to play. In regards to the in-game transactions, it refers to weapon gacha. You will be able to get special weapons or new costumes that do not exist in the original game, and this will add to the experience. So what does this tell us? It's like, what's, Tifa's awesome cowboy outfit, and
oh my gosh, yes,
Zack skins or something like that. You'll be able to buy your skins, but if the base game is free to play, that's amazing. I thought this was going to be like a $40 game.
I still, yeah. I mean,
It probably will be for skins and stuff. But if I could play the game by itself,
yes.
please come out on Switch, please.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm as good of hardware as
Please come out on
iPhones
Switch.
and Android devices generally have nowadays. Specific phones, sure. As good as the hardware is, I really do not enjoy playing games on
No, I
that
completely agree with
hardware
you.
at all. So having something like this to be on something that is tailored as a gaming device, like the Switch, like you said, that would be much more ideal.
Did you ever play Final Fantasy 15 mobile version or whatever it was called when they're all like chibi
No.
looking? They released it on the
No.
Switch too. It
Okay.
looked beautiful. It looked and played like a normal Final Fantasy 15. It was just all chibi style. Sorry, go ahead. What you
And
were
it's the
saying?
full game?
I'm gonna bring it up. Yeah.
Kind of like how they did the Dragon Quest 11
Way cooler.
way cooler. Okay.
Pocket Edition, that's what it's called. I really like the look of this, and I think this is on Switch.
The decreed hour is come. Take your leave and go in the grace of the gods.
Insomnia Falls.
What? This is your idea of a joke?
There was an attack. The Imperial
I think I like
army
the
has
style.
taken-
I know, I kind of love it, right?
Lies.
The reports of the invasion are all the same. How could every headline?
I want to play through this again though on PlayStation 5.
In the wake of the news of King Regis' death, we've now received word that Crown Prince Noctis and the Oracle
Kind of want to do that
have also been pronounced
level 1 run.
If
Oh
you're
my
looking for the whole
goodness.
truth.
Were you watching someone
know
play
where to
that
find me.
before?
Shout out Hookshot Retrospective. My boy Cody.
God, what a champ.
Look at that big zoo.
I do need to play this game sometime.
back.
Oh my gosh, I
have.
can't wait. It's wonderful.
No going back. Let's go.
We got to do a look at that. That looks beautiful.
Surrender to despair.
We got to do a watch a Discord watch of
Yeah.
Kingsglaive and Brotherhood.
By the stars that light the heavens above, our world will be delivered from the perils of the dark.
If I was commuting on the bus every day to work again, I would totally play this on Switch.
I almost want to play this version instead of the
No way,
PlayStation.
dude. No way, dude.
Almost.
That game is gorgeous.
It really is.
Chocobos! Chocobos! Let's go.
Bum, 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 bum. So it's going to be 10 chapters. He says to elaborate, it will take 3 chapters to escape from Midgar.
Yeah,
The
so
other
10
compilations.
chapters dealing with the original Final Fantasy VII story.
Yeah. So we're going to do. I wonder when they're going to introduce Red.
Yeah, this will be really interesting to see how they change the pacing of the story for that and the other titles too.
Because it's like 4 hours to get out of Midgar for the original playthrough. It does not take long.
For someone's first game or for someone's first playthrough, probably longer than that, but
No way, dude.
it's yeah,
6
I
maybe.
would say so. But
Okay.
it is such a really quick, just establishing shot for the entire story. It really sprawls out from there. So it's interesting that they've been giving so much time for Midgar in all these new versions of the story.
Or they're just really condensing because they say the original will be condensed to about 10 chapters.
Mhm.
And if Midgar is about 4 hours, give or take maybe 6, you got a lot left after that.
So what
I'm gonna keep this music playing.
Maybe they'll take out a lot of the world map
Exploration.
Yeah, and make it much more of a straight shot linear story, which would be cool, actually.
Yeah. You think so?
I think there's some merit to that. Yeah.
You think we'd hit? You think we'd hit like, in the first half, Calm, Costa del Sol, Gold Saucer, Cosmo Canyon, probably after that. You think we get up to Rocket Town, Bone Village?
Yeah. Well, we would definitely have to hit Nibelheim. Very pivotal.
Well,
or not pivotal, but
Nibelheim's before Bone Village, so we could probably get up to the Forgotten Capital within another 3 chapters.
True, actually, yeah. And then you would only need 3 chapters for
Medial,
the disc 2 events, and then the final chapter.
There are a bunch of side quests. Would you consider Wutai in there? Well, we didn't even talk about that on the Yuffie bit. They talked. Let me read this specifically. This was so funny for Sonon. So they said here originally they were going to make him a lithe and extremely attractive man, but they said that they have made Yuffie play against Cloud and Vincent too many times, so they wanted a lithe, like a very svelte and sensual, supple, thin, Cloud and Vincent looking dude. So they wanted. They wanted to bring Sonon on here. According to his character profile, he's originally from Wutai, basically Final Fantasy's version of Asia. Works with Avalanche. He's made to look Asian and wears clothes that resemble that of the army, so he's fitted with armor as well. We wanted a character that balances Yuffie to be a staff wielder. That's pretty cool. His clothes allow him to move freely. So yeah, this should be fun to see. Here was the big one. Can they do co-op moves together? So he says no. There's no cross battle. You can only control Yuffie. It seems like it's just like the original game. He operates in 2 modes. He either attacks on his own, or you can give him like issue commands. But you can't take control of him like you can with your other characters.
And that's the other thing. Or at least with the translation, it uses the wording "given specific orders by Yuffie." So I don't know if we necessarily get to give him specific commands like we would for Yuffie, or if he's more like a summon in a way. Although they're supposed to have summons in this. There was a mistranslation where they talk about, will there be new materia and monsters? It's supposed to say, will there be new materia and summons? So there will be.
Cool. Do we get to fight him first? Yeah. Boy, oh boy, I look forward to playing Intergrade, man.
I would assume no, but if yes, they would probably have to do a different system since they wouldn't have that character for Yuffie's portion, I would think. Or maybe they would. I don't know. But yeah, I'm wondering if they would have Sonon's control be more like the way that they do summon control in Remake, where AI takes care of most of it, but then if you need your secondary character to do something, you can spend your ATB, or maybe he has his own ATB gauge for doing specific commands. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
That could just be me reading too much into the different wording there.
No, I could totally see him acting like a summon. So she doesn't. So she'd be more like, do staff ability 1, or she could even just shout out fight this type of way. It seems like so, like, or maybe you just let him go and he just does his thing the entire time.
Yeah, or like I said, I could be reading that completely wrong, and they do just mean that you can assign commands instead of maybe referring specifically to you don't move him around and do auto attacks with
correct
him.
You can't control, you only control Yuffie the whole time.
Right, but you can still treat him as a menu selection just like you can with all the other characters in the base game. Okay, so that makes more sense to me now.
Yeah. Back to Ever Crisis. Mm-hmm. They did say that they're going to have new original episodes in there. That's pretty cool. So the first story that will take place in Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, in which the other game was announced at the same time as Ever Crisis. The story of First Soldier takes place 30 years prior to when Soldier was still in the middle of being established. As such, a younger version of a certain hero, Zack, as well as a certain Shinra employee, and every other character who appear in the next installment of Final Fantasy VII Remake will be present as well.
Zach wouldn't have been born then, so
You're
I
right.
wonder if they're referring.
No, he would have been born. He would have just 30
No,
years.
not 30 years before.
Yeah, you're right.
He would have been just a little bit older than Cloud, if at all. Yeah, I wonder if they would be referring to someone specifically from Crisis Core. Either someone who originally was a hero, or I don't know, maybe some other character. So yeah, it'll be cool to see. It sounds like they're going to be unifying that the chibi field look and design of the characters, and then when going into battle, then kind of having that like full detailed design. I'm still curious how they're going to deal with the battle system, because I know it's a mobile game, and so it's going to be much more like touchscreen focused, not necessarily like having you have free movement in the battlefield, etc. So I imagine it's all like cooldowns and specific attack and support abilities, but we'll have to see when we play it.
He actually mentioned that specifically. Where was that? He says, I was rather particular about having all the games fit the style of the original Final Fantasy VII, where the field map featured many stylized versions of the characters, while the battles had full versions. The rule wasn't present with the other compilation titles, and the battle systems are different. So that's pretty cool. For this game, we're making sure all the companions follow this type of format while also preserving the essence of each game. It's vital to have an interesting battle system, so I was very strict with my views. While we have heard from many that they want each to play a compilation title on a different console instead of on the phone, will not be a substitute for that. Ever Crisis will not be a substitute for that. That's a bummer. Instead, the game is designed so that anyone can pick up. Yeah.
All right, mobile only. All right,
mobile only, man. I got to get a new phone. Actually, I'm in the market, man. I'm selling my Pixel 2. I'm pretty frugal, man. I've been saving. You know, got my mortgage, but the I'm up for a new phone. I'm probably going to get a new Pixel this year, whatever comes out, or maybe new Samsung, maybe. I don't know.
I need to trade in this this iPhone 7 at some point soon. It is falling apart.
Well, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
For this episode of Budsday today, we're not going to do any of the this week in gameplay. This was a heck of an episode, though. Holy cow, we still went for about 2.5 hours on this recording.
There's a lot to discuss this week, or this half of the month.
Well, we just really dug into with Microsoft and everybody, so that was pretty fun.
True. Yes.
Do you have any closing thoughts, or do you want to? Well, let's just bring this down. Do you have any closing thoughts or any things you want to say for coming up?
I am very excited for when we do our what we played in games talk next, because I finally got to do The Last of Us Part 2. I'm very excited to discuss that with you. I think that is going to be a long discussion for us.
Yes.
And I'm very excited. And I think this week I am going to start playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Cool.
Yeah. So prepare for me to find ways of managing my frustration once more. But I enjoyed the hell out of Donkey Kong Country 1, so I'm excited to play something that's more of a modern version of that.
Yep.
Other than
it's
that,
very good too. The music is outstanding.
You've been singing its praises a while, so I'm excited to give it its go.
Some of the bosses are tough though.
I mean, that's DKC for you, I would imagine. What about you? What are you excited for?
Final Fantasy 12, I got to wrap up. I jumped into 14 a little bit. I kind of am interested in playing that. As soon as I did, shout out Lyrep saw me and she's like, what? Yeah, we'll see. I may be streaming a little bit less to focus on some more Budsday content for the YouTube channel. We'll see. I'll let y'all know in Discord and on stream. If I do, it'll probably be tapered down or just a break. I'm not exactly sure how we want to handle it. I would like to spend some time to focus on the other content. Cassette and I have a couple ideas for some stuff we want to do and some long-term projects that I just kind of want to focus on and that might take priority. So I'll let you guys know though, keep you informed, and we'll see how it goes. At the very least, I'll still be doing this with Cassette, and you'll be able to grab us here. And probably keep streaming on Budsday, so we can say at least what up to everybody. But we'll see how that goes, and hopefully we'll be able to sort out a proper schedule about how that goes. We may even adjust a date, or the day we do Budsday. Budsday may be on a Sunday, maybe on a Monday. I don't know, and that may be when we stream, if we do. So I'll let you guys know though.
Sounds good. Keep us posted.
Yeah.
And speaking of keeping posted, please make sure to follow us on social media. We got our Twitter at Budsday today. Hit our link tree to join our Discord. And we hope to see you around, and let us know if you have any feedback or questions. Thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. And Son, thanks for recording with me.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Bye,
Y'all take care. Thanks for everything.
Later.